Well, wasn't this an interesting night at the good old hockey game? Game 2 of 3, Leafs in Edmonton, coming off a 4-0 shutout of the Oilers on Saturday night. Some interesting developments before the game. Matthews, who was considered day-to-day and was a game-time decision on Saturday and didn't play again tonight, so nobody, and they're not really saying much about his injury, so nobody really knows what the hell's wrong with him. We're assuming it's his wrist, since that's what he was getting taped up after during that Calgary game when he got hurt. So, but either way, not in the lineup. The other interesting development is that Jack Campbell is hurt again after getting that shutout against the Oilers. He got bumped in the game, but stayed in, but was ruled out for this one. So Michael Hutchinson got another chance to get another start. So that's how the game kind of was set up. First period, the game took on a tone very similar to the previous game on Saturday night. It was very fast paced. Each team took turns kind of setting up in the other team's zone, and it looked like almost, oh, is it a power play? No, it's not a power play. It's just they were getting this zone time, and it was both of them doing it kind of back and forth. But the Leafs got on the board early and kind of deflated the Oilers with when scoring on their first two shots. I think Edmonton was out shooting Toronto 5-0 at some point or something like that in the early going. But then the Leafs got their first two shots, went up 2-0, and it kind of sunk the Oilers a bit. And Hutchinson made some really good saves early on, especially to kind of stabilize everything and stuff like that. So first goal was a Zach Hyman beauty. The Leafs kind of entered the zone, and then kind of a four-way passing play between, I think it was Engvall, maybe... who else? Maybe Hyman was involved in it too to get it started. And then eventually it went to Riley on the left side, and as he kind of crept in towards the dot, Hyman was coming out of the right corner, and Riley threw him a pass, and Hyman got the Koskinen going side to side and then went past him and backhanded it in for a 1-0 Leaf lead. The second goal, that was around the 7-minute mark. I think the second goal was around the 10-minute mark. It was Nylander off of a face-off kind of... It was actually a face-off loss. Edmonton won the face-off in the neutral zone, but the puck, nobody really claimed the puck, and Nylander just burst through, took it, and then floated a backhander high over the glove of Koskinen for a 2-0 lead. And then closer to the end of the period, somewhere in the 18-minute region, who got the goal? Riley did, I think. It was a point shot that kind of... Thornton was in front. There was a bit of traffic in front, and it hit something. I don't know if it hit the goalie or hit somebody in front, and then just kind of hit the ground and just kind of rolled across the line through the crease really slowly. So that was a 3-0 lead right near the end of the first period, and the Leafs would never look back. And the only difference in complexion with regards to the previous game, I mentioned there was a lot of similarities in terms of the pace and everything like that. That first game on Saturday only had one penalty called the whole night, whereas this game each team had 4 power plays, so they were calling a lot more shit, which was too bad. But Leafs were great there. They went 1 for 4 on the power play, so that's still less percentage than their power play normally runs, but their penalty kill was 4 for 4, so that's good. That kind of summed up their night. They were really good defensively. Craig Simpson was mentioning that they really had active sticks. They were getting, Edmonton was trying to pass the puck around, and the Leafs were just getting sticks on everything and disrupting their flow and preventing chances. And what I really noticed was it was almost like a swarm defense. Like every time one of their good players, like McDavid or Draisaitl or whoever, and not even their good players, but all their players, whenever they got the puck, it was almost like a swarm defense. There'd be 2 or 3 Leafs on them, right? Yet somehow they wouldn't get caught out of position and leave an open man or something. It was really weird. Effective, but it kind of defied logic, I guess. And maybe they had a lot more legs than the Oilers. They were really fast, and maybe that was the difference, right? They were able to play that kind of suffocating defense because they had the will, the effort, and the energy was there, right? So I thought they played a really good game all around, and they basically rolled four lines all night long. And it was that third line, I guess, that was really, to me, the best one all night, which they kind of discovered in the last couple games. The line of Mikheyev, Hyman, and Engvall. Lots of speed, lots of grit, and of course they accounted for one of the goals there. So, but all four lines were good in their own way. Barabanov, the fourth liner, who's gotten to play a little more games with Simmons out of the lineup, I think, for so long now. He the more games he plays, the more noticeable he becomes. I mean, he's still a fourth liner, but he's starting to settle into a groove and become a contributor. Spezza, I thought, had a pretty good game. Marner and Thornton were magic together again. Tavares got some chances. I think he's working his way out of his slump. And then, of course, the defense, everybody was solid. And near the end of the game, there was some, I think the Oilers are just getting really, really frustrated because Mike Smith, the Oilers goalie who started the second after Koskinen gave up 3 goals in the first, Hyman drove to the net and cut across the crease and made contact with Smith late in the game. But I think the Oilers defenseman was kind of draped on him, so it was kind of one of those incidental things. And he got up, and he's a spaz. He's always been a spaz. That's why he'll never probably win anything, because probably costs his team bad penalties all the time. But he got up afterwards and then went after Mikheyev behind the net. And Mikheyev's like, what the fuck? Like, what did I do? You know, like, but that's the way Mike Smith is. That's why I wouldn't want him as a Leaf. He's just a fucking spaz, and I hate that shit. I don't mind a guy that wants to kick people's asses, but, like, this reactionary thing about, and it's not even the right guy, right? Like, friggin' that stuff annoys me. And then late in the game, too, Nurse went in and bumped Hutchinson after he froze the puck, and then Bogosian was all over him, and then a couple other little scrums broke out, and it was nice to see a little bad blood injected into this series. I really like the Oilers. They're one of my favorite teams after the Leafs, but when they're playing the Leafs, it's, you know, everybody's fair game, right? So, so hopefully somebody beats the shit out of as many Oilers next game as possible. I wouldn't mind seeing some teeth being spit out and some bloody knuckles and whatnot. But this was the first time in, I can't remember how long, but it's been a long time since in back-to-back games both McDavid and Draisaitl have been shut out points-wise. So again, that's another big kind of stat there with how effective the Leafs have been over these 2 games, right? So yeah, it was really an impressive overall team effort, and another shutout, and Hutchinson no less. You all know how I commented on it last year when Babcock got fired and they fed Hutchinson to the Wolves and then released him and treated him like shit. You know, I kind of always believed in him and believed he needed another chance, and look what he can do when there's a normal situation presented to him, right? Like, he gets in and he stops pucks and he wins, right? So good for him. It's too bad Campbell got hurt again, but it's nice to know that no matter which backup goalie they put in, they can post shutouts, no problem. So yeah, overall, another encouraging win and another encouraging game. Another 2 points, more separation between not only the second place Oilers who are chasing the Leafs, but the rest of that damn division and the rest of the league, really. Yeah, so the North has really become an interesting kind of situation, because it was the Leafs and the Habs, first and second for the first however long of the season. And I'm a big Habs hater. I hate the Habs, of course. I'm a Leafs fan. And they you know, everybody's talked about all the great moves they made this summer and how much money they spent. And it's like, well, you can spend all the money you want, but you have to buy the right players, right? And I didn't believe in the moves they made as much as a lot of other people did. And when they had that kind of hot start, I was like, wait for it. It's coming. You know, everything's going to equalize, you know. And the fact that the Habs played a shitty Vancouver team so many times early in the season, a crappy Ottawa team, kind of accounted for a lot of their wins, right? And finally now it's all evening out. So they've plummeted, and they're now holding on to the 4th and final playoff spot by a thread. And Calgary, who's been shit this year, is right behind them. and could catch them easily. And even I think not Winnipeg, they're in right now. Even Vancouver, who's not that far behind Calgary, if they get a bit of a push, they could even catch them too. So I kind of want the Habs to make the playoffs just because I'd love to see Leafs Habs a playoff series, but any chance to see them fail is just I'll take it, right? So so the standings have really changed. Now it's Leafs, Oilers, Jets, Habs, I believe. So there's been a lot of shuffling there, especially in those 3 playoff spots behind the Leafs there. So yeah, everything in the North is it's interesting to watch the highlights every night and see what happens, especially with these series where they play each other a few times in a row, right? It makes things kind of you can really gain ground on a team if you get in there and win all 3 games against them, or you can lose ground, so it's a very curious kind of year and a curious kind of setup, but it's made for some interesting watching and interesting prognosticating and whatnot. So until the next game, which is Wednesday night, their last game against the Oilers, we will just enjoy this win and expect another shutout on Wednesday. I shouldn't say the shutout word. It only counts on game day, though, so I have not jinxed anything. Till then.